Hi, in this week's video we're going to be doing a range test of the Audi E-Tron 55 Quattro. So this car has a Wltp range of 248 miles. It's not looking that good from the start, to be honest. Anyway, let's get cracking. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm still not used to this menu. Here we are. So the car is charged to 100%, as you can see here. So normally you charge to 80%. I've charged to 100% because we're going away for a couple of days, and I just want to make sure that we've got plenty of charge to start. However, look at the projected range. So if you look there, you can see that the projected range is only 197 miles, which is interesting. If we check the temperature down there, it's 12.5 degrees. So, I mean, autumnal, but I would hope it would have been a little bit higher than that. Maybe it's very, very honest about its range. So I've just reset the trip miles. If you look down there, they're at 0. And with a range of 197 miles, that will go down as that goes up. But will the range going down for 197 go up to 197 on the trip? Let's find out. So I'm not going to do any sort of kind of clips of roads with music overplaying because, I mean, you know I'll be driving. So the next clip will be me later on today. See you soon. Well, before we set off, it's probably worth mentioning that I find efficiency and comfort really boring and wallowy. So I've put it in dynamic, which may affect the range very slightly, but it's my preferred driving style. Right, so we've arrived. Let's have a look at the stats. We'll start at the bottom here. So we've driven 67 miles and we've got 132 miles of range left. So we started with 197 miles. So that is 100% accurate. So the car predicted we would get here with 132 miles for the journey. We've made that journey. That's really impressive. So that's to the mile. That is really, really impressive. The only thing I would say is we've driven at probably an average of 45 miles an hour. So I'll be interested to see how that compares on motorway miles. And if we look at the temperature there, it's now 20 degrees. And we've averaged 2.4 miles per kilowatt hour. And I think that's low. I think Audi's Audi. I mean, Audi have been making cars a long time. I know this is their first kind of venture. This is their first 100% EV, as far as I know. It's a premium car, and it's a heavy car. That's important. But 2.4 miles per kilowatt hour, I mean, it doesn't seem that good. This time of year and at this temperature in my Tesla Model S, I would be expecting probably about 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. So as much as this is a great place to be, it's a very comfortable journey. For its price point and compared to other EVs, it's not really that efficient, or I thought it would be more efficient than it actually is. So we're going to do some running around today. I'll probably check in tomorrow with another update just so you can see if the car remains, well done Audi, 100% accurate with its range projection. So second day in Norfolk. We're in Thornham, which is near Hunstanton. Hello son. And we're going around to Cromer. Let's have a look at the car. We've got 130 miles of range left and we've done 73 miles. So that makes 203 miles of range, so still incredibly accurate. So Cromer and back is, I think, 80 miles, and then we've got 70 miles to go home. So that's going to be 150 miles we're going to need. I'm not going to arrive back with like 2 or 3 miles in the car. It's just not worth it. So we will need to charge, and I'm going to hopefully show you a big charging tip if you've got an Audi E-Tron. So we're going to go to Cromer and we're going to come back and we'll see you later. Right, so it's the next morning. it's now Tuesday and we're heading home. But let's look at the stats. So we've done 146 miles and it's saying we've got 67 miles of range left. So that gives us a total range of 213 miles. I'll have to work that out. So 67 miles of range and it's 69 miles back to our house. So as much as I love this channel, I don't, flatbed of shame, love it. So we're going to have to charge. But hopefully at the moment it's giving you an idea of the accuracy of the range in the E-Tron. And what I'll do is I'll work out how many miles I've added and I'll take that off at the end and we can still get a good figure. The reason why I'm not going to risk this is twofold. One, I'm not sure what the car's going to do when it gets down to really low miles. So in our E-Golf, for instance, at 31 miles an hour, it starts turning the aircon off. But when you get, at 31 miles of range, it starts turning the aircon off. But when you get down to, say, 15, it starts to really put the car into limp mode. So we got caught with about 8 miles of range, which was enough to get home. However, we couldn't get the car above 50 miles an hour on the A1, a dual carriageway. So rather than we just stopped and charged for 2 minutes just to get it above that threshold so we could carry on our journey. So we're at the Thornham Deli. If you watch my videos, this won't be a surprise to you. We're at the Thornham Deli in Thornham, a fantastic cafe. They've got Tesla destination charges. And this is where my big tip comes in. If you watch my channel a lot, you will know this. Let me show you what I mean. As you can see there, I'm parked at a Tesla charger. Now, although it's got the Tesla symbol, it says electric vehicles. There is another type that just says Tesla vehicles. So if it says Tesla vehicles, it'll be red and you can't charge there. But where it says electric vehicles, any type 2 can charge. So because this is a business giving me free electricity, it's important that we actually use that business. So it's right near our holiday home anyway. So we're here multiple times a year, probably on average once every 3 weeks or 2 weeks maybe in the summer. So we're going to have breakfast here. So I've got no problem with plugging in and using some of their charge. I think even if I wasn't having breakfast here or eating here, I'd be okay with putting it on charge for an hour because we do come here a lot. But these are destination charges, so somebody's paying for the electricity that goes in there and somebody's taking time to put these in. So if you're using destination charges, make sure you patronise the business. I hope you're enjoying this video. If you are, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel and it helps spread the word about electric vehicles. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. This channel covers all sorts of electric vehicles. If you're particularly interested in the E-Tron, I think if they're not there already, in the playlist, which I'll link to at the end there, will be about probably 6 to 8 videos about this car. Right, let's get charging. I do really love that flap. It's really good. This should go straight in. And then we'll check that it's working. Houston, we have a problem. So I've been using these chargers here for well over a year since I bought my first electric car. So there's this venue here, and then there are 2 pubs down the road. So we frequent this business, we frequent their businesses. However, currently, between them, they've got 8 of these destination chargers. None of them are working. For the first time I've known it, none of them are working. So they're all switched on. I can see they're switched on. And with the Tesla charger, when it's giving charge, it pulsates. None of them are working. So I was going to edit this bit out, but I think it's probably important, especially if you're new to EVs, to emphasise that always have a backup plan. So our holiday home here is a caravan, so I could have plugged the car into the caravan overnight if I'd have known. However, the charge rate would have been really slow, but it would have been plenty to get us home. It perhaps would have only added, say, 30 miles overnight, but that would get us home with 30 miles to spare. I was confident this charger would work because I've used it about 2 weeks ago. It doesn't work. So we now have got not enough range to get home. I've been sitting here with the aircon on trying to figure this out. The range has dropped to 66 miles now. So I've got a contingency plan. It's disappointing. And if you're watching this, I haven't edited it out, obviously. because I want to show EVs in a good light, but I also want to show that if things go wrong, you know, just always have a backup plan. So we will have our breakfast. I suspect I will see you in about 50 miles time at my backup plan. See you in a bit. We've arrived at Kings Lynn. I haven't started charging yet. I thought I'd do this bit before I see if these chargers work. I think they will. I hope they do. So when I said always have a backup plan, generally, if we can't charge in Norfolk, I have 3 backup plans on the way home. So we live just north of Peterborough. So there's 4 chargers in Kings Lynn. There's 1 charger in Hunstanton, which is just down the road. This thing is a relic. I'm sure someone will steal it because it's going up in value now. It is that old, this charger. So there's that one. I try and avoid that one. There's 5 chargers in Kings Lynn, 3 of which I'm at now. So there's a bank of 3. This is a really good choice. The reason being is there's 3 chargers and each can charge 2 cars. So that means in effect there's 6 charging stations right here where I am. The other 2 are closer to Peterborough and 1 is a couple of miles from the house. So my petrol days, and I think just being a man, I don't know what it is, I always think to myself, just go to the very last charger. You know what it's like? I've got 25 miles in the tank, the next charger's 28 miles away, should be okay. I don't know why. If you're the same, let me know. So, but I'm not doing that now. I've grown out of that. So I'm stopping at my first choice, which is these Kings Lynn chargers. Let's see how we get on. Oh, but before we do that, let's look at the stats. So we've got 40 miles of range left, 166 miles travelled, giving us a range of 216 miles. No. Giving us a range of 206 miles. I am tired, mildly hungover. So giving us a range of 206 miles. So the car has been spot on. So if you're thinking about buying an E-Tron, I mean, for the driving that we've done, which is averaging sort of, I'd say, 40 miles an hour across the whole test, it's been really spot on. I've yet to do a test. I might go and see my dad in London. So that's a 200-mile round trip, about 190 miles round trip. So possible on one charge, if it carries the same efficiency over at higher speeds. I mean, I hope it would do, because otherwise this car is really quite inefficient, because it's not that efficient really at these speeds. So yeah, all looking good. I'm very comfortable with the range, because sometimes with some cars you can have a range, you start driving, it just disappears, but this has been exceptionally good. Let's get charging. Okay, so we're successfully charging, which I'm happy about. Let me show you this. So there's 1 charger, 2 bays there. There's 1 charger, 2 bays here, and 1 charger, 2 bays there. If you look there, there's a nice Nissan Leaf in that charging bay, which means if I'd have picked a place with only 1 charger and the Leaf was charging, especially if it was a charger that couldn't charge 2 cars at once, I'd be stuck in an indefinite queue, I guess. Now, there is an app you can use called Need to Charge, and with the Need to Charge app, you just put in the reg of the car that's charging, and if they're also registered on the app, which is unlikely to be honest, it will send them a message to ask them to come and take their car off charge if they can. Right, so let's have a look and see how we're charging. So I'm not sure how much it's charging. I'll have to have a look in the car, but we had 17% when we arrived. I mean, it's only been charging for about 3 minutes. Oh, there you are. It has been charging for 3 minutes and it's added 3%. So that's good to know. I think this is probably a 50 kilowatt charger. Let's see if the car can tell us any more information. Right, so here we are. So we've got 49 miles of range. That's gone up by 9 miles, which is good. We're at 22%, so that's actually charging nicely. Now, if you look here, we're only getting 43 kilowatts. So the E-Tron can take 120 or 150 kilowatts. So it can charge sort of 3 or 4 times quicker than this. However, we are charging, and it's actually, this is really good, especially if you're coming from a car with an engine. It's giving you an idea of how much it's charging per hour. So it's charging at 114 miles an hour. If we were getting 120, you'd be looking at say 350 to 400, I suppose. It's saying it's got 1 hour to its full. And even just while we're talking, the range has gone up by 3 miles, I can see there. So all successful. So this is number 1 of my backup, as I mentioned, and that's works, that's fine. Now, we're going to be here a while because my oldest has just informed us that she hasn't got any school socks for tomorrow. So they're going to find school socks in Kings Lynn, and I'll edit this video while I'm waiting. So we're going to end up with many more miles than we actually need. But I know how much we had before we arrived, so I'll be able to take it off and all that sort of stuff. See you back home. One thing I forgot to tell you. So I spoke to the maintenance guy at the Thornham Deli, where we couldn't charge because their 3 chargers are down. So really lovely chap, and I've kind of half know the guy. Always friendly, always jolly, will always say hello. I haven't got shares in the Thornham Deli, I promise. So what he said to me was, they've had a kitchen extension done. So they've extended their kitchen and doubled the size of the restaurant. So what that's meant is they are at the absolute capacity for electricity supply into the building. So what seems to have happened is it's had an adverse effect on their 3 Tesla chargers. So one's permanently down, 2 is intermittent, and the 3rd is less intermittent. So they are on it, and they are going to fix it, and they've got someone coming out to try and resolve the situation. But I mean, it's a shame, but they are aware of it, and they do seem focused on fixing it. But it's one of those things, I guess. So 39 minutes of charging, and we've added 76 miles of range. So that's pretty good. The family aren't even back yet. They're still shopping. So the reason I've stopped charging is because somebody else needed to charge. So I just said, look, I've got plenty to get home. You get on the charge, and I'll just wait for the family. So all good, and I will see you back at home. Right, we are home, and we are at the end. Let's look at the last figures. So we've done 214.4 miles. We've got 59 miles of range left. Bearing in mind I added 76 miles of range to the car, so I need to take 17 miles off the 214, and that takes us to exactly 197. And unless I've been to the Diane Abbott School of Maths, that is 100% accurate. So at the start of our journey, this car, the Audi E-Tron, said we would get 197 miles of range, and on that one charge, we got 197 miles. So brilliant. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. The Audi has been spot on with its range prediction. I'm going to put some more videos around me and a subscribe button, including the playlist for my other Audi videos. I've not got this car for much longer, so if I get a chance, I will do a proper motorway range test as well. Fingers crossed I get a chance. Anyway, see you next time.